Okay, it's Mr. Dorsey again. For those of you doing the alternate project or those that are doing the project in class, this is equally valuable. We have already constructed on other videos the triangle, the equilateral triangle, which is all equal sides, all equal angles. At 1 inch sides, we've already constructed, that was the triangle. We did the square, we did the pentagon, we did the hexagon. That is the number of sides and angles. Now we're moving on to heptagon and octagon. Heptagon is 7. I'm going to write that here for you. 7 sides. So I'm going to do that on here. Again, your protractor is right side up if the numbers read like not backwards. They could count down or up, but the numbers are forwards, not backwards. These numbers are just upside down, not backwards. They're just upside down. Hello. And so I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line here. You're going to make it at least 6 inches long. I'm using pen. You will never use pen for this. You will use pencil. I'm using pen so that it shows better on camera. And this one was a student had used it, and it's kind of dirty. So anyway, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and put a dot. That's where I began, and then I'm going to measure 1 inch. My process will always be measure inch. I'll put 1 inch there. Measure 1 inch, and then that's step 1. Step 2 is always measure angle. And I'm going to do that again and again as many times as there are angles. So if there's 5 angles, I do that 5 times. If there's 6 angles, I do it 6 times. In this case, there's 7 angles, and I'm going to do that. Each one of these is 1 inch, but the angle for a heptagon is 128 degrees. So I'm going to measure 128. This won't be perfect because the actual angle measure is between, I think it's 127.6, something like that. So I rounded it to 128 because you can't do half degrees on a protractor. Now, so I'm going to go ahead and measure 1 inch. Whether I go from this line here, which is the end, to here, or I go from 1 to 2. 2 minus 1 is 1 inch. In other words, this is a 1 inch line. I'm going to go ahead and use that. This is my new vertex, the first one. So I measured my inch, and now I'm going to measure my angle. Let's go ahead and do that. So when I measure the 128 degree angle, I go up here. Again, if my shape is in here, right, that means it's going to be a 128 degrees is an obtuse angle, more than 90. So it's over here. So I go up here and I go 110, 120, 130. Well, 128 is 2 less than that. Okay, now I'm going to connect my new vertex with my new dot that I just did. Now, I'm going to turn this. Why do I turn it? It makes it easier to draw and easier to think. It makes everything easier. Now I'm going to measure again. So I did the inch, and then I did the angle. Now I do an inch, and then I do the angle. I keep doing that again and again. So I go 1 inch, and then I go the angle, which would be 128 degrees. So I go up here, again 130, 128 is right here, and I am going to connect my new vertex with my dot that I just drew. And again, if you make it not exactly on the line, this allows for the thickness of your pencil lead, in this case my pen. I'm going to rotate again, and I'm going to draw 1 inch. So again, I've done that. Measure 1 inch, measure angle. Measure 1 inch, and then measure angle. It's supposed to just show me that's where I'm going next. Okay, so I go, sorry for all the squiggles, but it is what it is. There's ink or something on this. I just discovered what it was. Something on my protractor. Hopefully that will help. All right, so I have a 128 degree angle from here, so I do it again. I put the vertex in the hole, and I line up the line of the protractor with the line that I drew underneath. And I go 128 degrees, right? And then I connect those lines. So I connect those dots. So So I go from my new vertex to my new dot that I did there. I rotate this again, and I measure 1 inch again. And then so now I've measured 1 inch. This is my new vertex. And now I'm going to measure 128 degrees again. So I get the line that's now my bottom here. I get my vertex in the hole. And oops, I'm going to move this so you can see it better. My paper is running into my camera stand, which makes it a little tough. 128 degrees, 125, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to connect the dots again. I'm going to go 1 inch. I'm going to rotate it again, so this is my new flat. I'm going to go 1 inch over. So let's try that from my corner to 1 inch. And I'm going to measure 128 degrees using this as my new vertex right here. So if I do that, I go 128. I'm going to connect my new vertex to my new dot that I just made to show where the line should go. How effective is you make that little sound on your own. Okay, now I'm going to go 1 more inch. I've done the angle. 1 more inch. Now, it's not a perfect 128 degrees, so this is going to be off a little. If I did it perfectly, this would meet this line exactly, but let's see if we get close. So I'm going to measure from this new vertex. And I'm going to go 128 degrees. And then we're going to see if we can get in the ballpark. It's going to be close. It's actually very close. Very, very close. Look at that. Pretty solid. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I only did that so you could see it. This meets with Mr. Dorsey's seal of approval. Good to go.